We're here at the El Pajoma Orchid Reserve in Ecuador, a really great example of the unique montane forest biome. Let's go on a hike. So if you look at this forest, you probably feel like it's just a riot of vegetation. I mean, there's just stuff growing on top of everything, right? You can hardly see the surface of the trees because there's so much stuff growing on them. This tree is a special tree. It's called Cascarilla. Cinchona is the genus, Cinchona pubescens. And this is called the quinine tree. We know it as the quinine tree. Does anyone know what quinine is for? A couple of things. Well, are any of you on mefloquine or chloroquine? Anti-malarial drugs. Quinine is the source. These trees of the genus Cinchona are the source of quinine, which is the compound that essentially won the battle against malaria all around the world as an important malarial. It's extracted from the bark, it's also in the leaves. Very important tree historically because human population skyrocketed in Africa and in other parts of the world of the tropics when they found a cure for malaria. This tree itself is important and has some uses for humans. It's called sangre de drago. Does anyone know what that means? Dragon's blood. So dragon's blood, and if I had a knife, actually I probably wouldn't cut it even if I had a knife, but if you have a knife you can cut into this tree and it bleeds. This red sap comes out of the tree and it's useful as an antibiotic. You can put it on a cut, you can put it on a mosquito bite, an infected bite. You can even drink it internally and it kills bacteria. So if you have an upset stomach or if you have problems in your gut, you can take it as an internal tonic, and if you have cuts or other wounds, you can take it as an external ointment. A little bit more about the water cycle, the role of montane forest in hydrology. The cloud stripping that happens in this forest contributes 10 to 20% of the water into the system. In other words, there's rainfall, but there's 10 to 20% more water in the system just because of cloud stripping alone. And in the dry season, cloud stripping can contribute up to 60% of the total water input into the system. There's still clouds, but it's not raining. And so even in the dry season, especially in the dry season, cloud stripping is really important to provide the water for this forest. The water that's captured that way slowly drips down, runs down the stem flow and through fall, down the stems of the trees, into the soil, down the slopes, and into these streams, slowly providing a really constant and consistent source of water for these streams. So even in the dry season, the streams are flowing because there's always this slow and steady input. And that's one of the reasons that montane forests are so very important for human water supplies, because they slowly release water into the environment and make it less prone to extreme fluctuations. When you cut montane forests down, what winds up happening is you get rainfall, which leads to huge flood events and very high stream flow, but then in between those rain events, the streams dry up. So by having the forest vegetation, it provides this opportunity for constant, reliable sources of water. And very clean water too, because it gets filtered as it goes through the vegetation. All this water that the cloud forest accumulates slowly and feeds these streams produces this ample, clean water supply. And it's so important that the city of Quito is actually paying landowners now to conserve forest in the watershed that provides Quito's water. And El Pajoma and the land adjoining El Pajoma is involved in that program, that project of conserving forests to protect these clean water supplies. This waterfall never dries up and has very pure, clean water.